and welcome to In My Mug, episode 2! Actually, I think I know somebody who can introduce this better.
¿Ah, sí?
Hola, bienvenido a mi taza, episodio 250.
So, that man, Mr. David Vilca of Bolivia, a famous Finca David Vilca fame, wasn't meant to be the special guest. This was meant to be recorded in Machicamarca. Sorry, my mind is a haze. In Machicamarca, in South Yungas. Unfortunately, Loopy, who was going to be taking me, fell ill on Thursday with a chest infection and wasn't able to take me. Very sad for me, even sadder that she's not well. I know Loopy watches some of these, so get well soon, Loopy. We all wish you a very speedy recovery. But yes, I had to come up with a special guest all of a sudden and couldn't really get them to come and record it with me. So David, when he heard about it, was very kind to record that little bit there. So yes, thank you. So episode 250, we made it. There were times I didn't think I would, but it's amazing to be at 250 episodes. Thank you everybody for the support over the years of watching these videos. It's immense. The feedback has been huge about the birthday coming up. I received so many kind emails from you lot. You were just too kind to me. But yeah, you were all very kind with your lovely bits of feedback and wishing it well and wishing it into the 250 onwards. So let's try and do that, hey. So this week's we have no 20 seconds on. This week we have no news because, well, I'm on tour. You saw the opening title of On Tour, and that opening title gives you a little hint, a little insight into what's going to be happening from next week. You are not going to want to miss next week's In My Mug. It is going to be massive. It is a really, really big deal. Lots of changes, lots of developments, which I'm excited to share with you. But let's talk about coffee. So this week's coffee doesn't come from Bolivia. That out there is Carinavi. Like, that's the place I talk about all the time. On the map bits, when I zoom down on the mill, this is the mill. The bridge is just down there. Like, I can see it just through the trees there. This is the place that I dream about. To be doing episode 250 in the place I dream about is stunning. It would have been even better to do it with a Bolivian coffee, but as we know, it's not the time of year. It's not the season for Bolivia. So we have a Guatemala. But it's a super, super interesting Guatemala, and one that I think is really worthy of episode 250. So why is it worthy? Well, it's called, this is a big title, so Guatemala country, Finca, farm, Sierra Vieja, which is the name of the, not the village even, it's more like a little location of Antigua. And then we have Jocotales, which is the name of the farm. Then we have yellow honey, which is the process, so the honey process, that like a pulp natural we've talked about before, Bourbon. It is the world's tiniest lot. Like, you lot have virtually wiped it out. I have like 60 kilos left to sell on the back of it. And it's super expensive because of it being so small. So that bag, if you want to buy it retail on the site, it's going to be about £12, £12.50, which is cheap for what it is. You have this very tiny, interesting super micro lot. And out of the 3 that we bought from Jocotales, this is the most interesting. And that's why I wanted to share it with you guys, because you support me doing this, watching me, listening to me. So I thought it was time to give you something. So that's the name. The farm is owned by, well, I don't know who it's owned by, if I'm going to be honest with you, because it's owned by the grandfather of Alex Ilinas. Now, Alex is a young guy, I would say. I don't know exactly, I guess it's rude to ask somebody's age, but if you look at the picture on the website, he looks way too young. He needs to grow facial hair and be old, but he made me feel very old. But it's his grandfather's farm, and his grandfather has owned the farm for 50 years, and they've never processed their own coffee. Now that's not unusual in Guatemala. In Guatemala what will happen is they'll take it to a mill and it will be processed and it will be sold as Antigua. So Guatemala and Antigua, you may have seen that about in supermarkets and in high street chains, and that's how it will be sold. So that's where their coffee went. But Alex wanted to do something interesting. He's kind of a bit of a coffee geek. He's been hanging around with cool barista champions it'll come back to me. Sorry, my mind, I am still quite jet laggy, I've not been sleeping so well. But what he realised was that he could do these interesting microlots and sell them for more money and make the farm a little bit more famous, get a name for it, those kind of things. So he also realised they hadn't got a mill, so they couldn't do washed coffee. Natural coffee is quite tough to do and to get right, and also a very limited market for Antiguan. So what he decided, he was going to do the honey process. But the other problem was he hadn't got anywhere to dry it. So he went to his uncle, so he's kind of using his family and he's networking out there, kind of getting all of these, all these people together. And Raul, by the way, Raul Rodas from Guatemala is the barista champion. I knew it would come to me eventually. So he went to his uncle and said, can I borrow some space to dry some coffee? Well, his uncle has a house with a flat roof. And if you go again and look at the product description, you'll see the photos of him on the roof with his uncle with all of this coffee drying. It's absolutely bizarre. It has no right to be as amazing as it is, but when we cup it in a minute, you're gonna see why I think it is so amazing. And it really is a super special coffee. Like, not just one of the best from this year. Like, I have a feeling this could be one of my all-time favourites. Like, all time. It's that good. That's why it's on episode 250. I've been sitting on it, waiting for this to come along so I could share it with you. There is a red Bourbon lot that we bought as well, which is much larger and is as interesting. I don't think it's quite as special. I think it is special, but just not quite as special. And then there is also is it Catura? If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. See how well planned I am for this. I really am quite laggy. Is it Catura? Oh, that's going to bug me now. But they're both red honeys from red fruit and are both interesting, but this is the specialist of the lot. We may see the red Bourbon in my mug in the future. I'm not so sure about the Catura. We'll see how it works out. But at the moment, no plans to. The Catura is going to be going on next week once I'm back in the country. I just haven't had time to do it while being out here. Farm is at an altitude of 1,400 metres above sea level, and it's just above the town of Vieja. I'm pronouncing that horribly wrong. I can hear it in my head going, oh. But they told me it was a short walk, so I was like, okay, yeah. So started walking up. 3 hours later, massive sunburn, like blisters, worse than the one on my nose. Can you see the one on my nose? And had a really good time, really excellent time, but it really was much longer than the 20 minutes that they promised me. When we went down to see the roof, it just blew my mind that people could process coffee in that way, and I hoped it was going to taste good. My gut feeling was it probably wasn't, and this was a bit of a wasted journey. But as it turns out, it really, really wasn't. So 1,400 metres above sea level, they have Catura, they have Bourbon, and is there anything else? Very near to the town of Antigua, on the volcano of Antigua, and yeah, I think that's pretty much it. So instead of whapping you on pause and giving you a splash cup, we've got a little bit of a message of happy 250th birthday from a football team I played for Illimani last night. In true English fashion, I got my ass whooped by these guys. We were at an altitude of about 1,500 metres and it was pitch black. I could not see the ball at all.
Felicidades a mi taza.
Gracias.
Felicidades a mi taza.
And I'm back, and how cool was that? So that was the whole of the Vilca family, the daughter, son-in-law, granddaughter, baby granddaughter, Mrs. Vilca, I should learn her first name, and David Vilca. So yeah, that was after the football last night when I'd got my ass whooped. So we should dive straight into the coffee. So maybe the Cantan and Paulex grinder. So, when I cut this coffee the first time, the first thing that jumped into my head was how creamy it was. It's all about the mouthfeel with it. It's thick, it's viscous, it sits around the tongue, it's delicious, it's smooth, but then there's an acidity Now you don't expect the acidity when it's so sweet, so smooth, so viscous. What it actually turns into is like apricots and peaches and pineapple and basically the tropical fruit family. You know, all of those lovely tastes that we all really enjoy in our, we all love the acidity of is in there. But it's still creamy, it's still viscous, and the descriptor that popped into my head and pops into my head right now is that it tastes like a tropical fruit Celerio. So a Celerio is an ice lolly, ice cream in the middle, and like peach and apricot and exotic fruits on the outside. And that's what it tastes like. It is a truly delicious cup. I don't think I've tasted yellow Bourbon taste like that before. It was one of those stop in the tracks moments that this is good, this is something special. And we really, really hope that we're going to be seeing it for years to come. We're definitely going to be sitting down with Alex and talk about this for next year and ongoing as well. And it's great that this is part of the trip to Guatemala earlier on this year, sorry. Like somewhere I've never really done direct trade at before, and it's the first time I've really been able to do that. So it's awesome that we're seeing the fruits of the labour come through. Okay, so we're going to have one more message, a birthday message, and yes, we'll be back with you in just a second.
Happy birthday to my mug.
So that's from Willie. Willie is the cupping manager here at the mill, and he was on my team last night. He was the reason we lost. I was awesome, he wasn't. So yeah, that's that one there. Okay, listen, the guys actually wanted to do that, by the way. I didn't coerce them or force them or make them. They actually volunteered to do it, the crazy fools that they are. Episode 251. You have to tune in. In my mug is going through one of those, I move my arms around, big changes, and I think you are going to really like the changes. It's smartening up what we've done so far. Do tune in next week without a doubt. Is there anything else? I'm off to Colombia in the morning. How cool's that? From Caranavi to Huila. Somewhere I've not been before, so I'm very excited. I've been here a couple of times now and I love it, but it's always exciting to go somewhere new and somewhere interesting. So hopefully we'll have some more delicious coffees coming from there. But do remember, for the 250th time, life is too short.